The wind, a mournful whisper through skeletal trees, was the only constant in Havenwood. Every 4 years, as October bled into November, a chill unlike any other descended upon the small, forgotten town. It wasn't just the crisp autumn air, it was a cold that seeped into your bones, a premonition of the terror to come. Sarah had been born in Havenwood, a town she'd tried desperately to escape, but the invisible threads of its dark history always pulled her back. This year, the cycle was due. She could feel it in the way her dog whimpered at shadows, in the hushed whispers of the few remaining townsfolk, and in the recurring nightmare that had plagued her since childhood. A flickering lantern, a twisted barn, and a scream that tore through the night. 4 years ago, it had been the Millers' disappearance. Their farmhouse, usually a beacon of warmth, had been found empty, a half-eaten dinner on the table, and the back door ajar. No signs of struggle, no footprints, just an unnerving void. 4 years before that, the Blackwood family vanished from their remote cabin, leaving behind only a child's forgotten toy rocking slowly on the porch, and before them, the Graysons, the O'Malleys, the Petersons, always a family, always in late October. Sheriff Brody, a man whose face was etched with the weight of Havenwood secrets, had no answers. The state police had long since given up, dismissing the cases as isolated incidents or runaways. But Brody knew better. He'd seen the fear in the eyes of generations, the way they boarded up their homes, not from robbers, but from something unseen, something ancient. This time, the target was the old Cunningham farm, a decrepit relic on the outskirts of town. Sarah knew because her nightmare had shifted. The lantern now cast its eerie glow over the Cunninghams' crooked porch. She tried to warn the new family, the Davises, who had recently moved in, blissfully unaware of Havenwood's curse. Mr. Davis, a portly man with a booming laugh, had simply patted her on the shoulder. "Just small-town superstitions, dear." The night of the reckoning arrived with a thick, suffocating fog. Sarah, driven by a desperate premonition, found herself on the dirt road leading to the Cunningham farm. The air was heavy, the silence broken only by the frantic beating of her own heart. As she approached, a faint, rhythmic sound reached her ears, the creak of a porch swing. Then the lantern. It flickered in the fog, just as in her nightmare, illuminating the ghostly silhouette of the Cunninghams' twisted barn. The front door of the farmhouse was slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness beckoning. She pushed it open, her breath catching in her throat. The house was cold, impossibly cold. A half-eaten meal sat on the dining table, steam still rising from a forgotten cup of tea. And through the silence, from somewhere deep within the house, she heard it. Not a scream, but a soft, almost melodic hum. Sarah moved deeper into the house, her senses screaming at her to flee. The hum grew louder, leading her to the living room. There, bathed in the dim light filtering through the fog-shrouded windows, was Mrs. Davis. She sat on the floor, rocking gently, a vacant smile on her face. Her hands moved in a slow, repetitive motion, as if she were cradling something. But there was nothing there. "They're gone," Mrs. Davis whispered, her voice a hollow echo. "They've gone to sleep." Suddenly, the front door slammed shut with a deafening bang. Sarah whirled around, her heart pounding. The lantern on the porch, which she'd sworn was just outside, now hung from the ceiling in the living room, casting long, dancing shadows. And in those shadows she saw them, faint, shimmering outlines of figures moving through the walls, through the air, their eyes glowing with an ancient, predatory light. They were everywhere, yet nowhere. The air grew even colder, so cold it burned. And then Sarah understood. It wasn't just the families who disappeared, they simply joined. She felt a pull, a strange sense of belonging, an invitation. The hum intensified, a siren song promising oblivion. Mrs. Davis's vacant smile widened. Sarah fought against it, her mind screaming for escape. But the cold was paralyzing, the hum intoxicating. As the fog seeped through the cracks in the walls, coalescing into swirling spectral forms, Sarah felt herself fading, her own reality blurring. She saw the twisted barn in her nightmare, not just outside, but within the house, within herself. She saw the Millers, the Blackwoods, the Graysons, their translucent forms moving amongst the new entities, their faces serene, their eyes glowing with the same eerie light. The last thing she saw before the darkness consumed her was her own reflection in the lantern's flickering light, her eyes beginning to glow with the same ancient, predatory luminescence. 4 years later, the wind still whispered through Havenwood. Another October bled into November, and the new family, a young couple eager for the peace of rural life, moved into the old Cunningham farm. They admired the antique lantern hanging in the living room, and dismissed the local rumors as quaint superstitions. And as the first hint of autumn chill touched the air, a young woman with vacant eyes and a gentle hum began to rock on the porch swing, waiting.